Hello and welcome to News at 6 on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor. Well, it is the first day of 2016. Wishing you all a very happy new year. Well, it is also the day when the odd-even formula comes into force in Delhi. Well, that is the big story that we'll be looking at. But let us begin with the headlines. The odd-even formula comes into force in Delhi. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal expresses satisfaction at the response. Delhi police urges Delhiites to cooperate. Delhi Transport Minister Gopal Rai lauds the public for following the odd-even rule, says where there is a will, there is always a way. Congress tears into the government's claims on economy, says the economy is stagnant and growth sluggish. And Iran denounces US plans for new sanctions over its missile program. President Rouhani asks Defense Ministry to continue with its plans to produce more missiles. Well, the top story, the Delhi government's ambitious measure to curb pollution, the odd-even formula for private vehicles, came into force on Friday. The 15-day trial run got off to a decent start, with the Delhiites generally following the rule. Now, Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal expressed satisfaction at the response, even as Delhi police urged residents of the national capital to cooperate.
On the first day of the new year, a new beginning for Delhi. In a bid to curb rising pollution levels in the national capital, the odd-even rule for private vehicles came into force on Friday. The rule will be in place for 15 days. The drive has been more or less successful, with even-numbered cars mostly staying off the roads on Friday.
बिल्कुल सेटिस्फाइड हूँ. कहीं ना कहीं तो शुरुआत होनी थी और बिना पब्लिक के कोऑपरेशन के तो कोई भी गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसी कामयाब होती भी नहीं है. So somewhere or the other there needs to be a start. So I think it's good.
सेटिस्फाइड नहीं हूँ क्योंकि बहुतों के पास गाड़ी हैं, इवन अनइवन दोनों ही चल रही हैं. अब सीएनजी भी तो पोल्यूशन फैलाती है. ये तो नहीं कहोगे सीएनजी की कोई पोल्यूशन नहीं है, उसकी भी है. टैक्सी वालों को छूट देती उनकी भी तो है. तो स्लाइटली फर्क पड़ेगा, ज़्यादा नहीं पड़ने वाला है.
कॉन्ट्रैक्टर होने के नाते मैं एक ही गाड़ी है मेरे पास जैसे ही है, तो मेरे को सारे में जाना पड़ता है डेली. तो मैं इस गाड़ी को एक दिन छोड़ूंगा, एक दिन नहीं चलाऊंगा, तो मेरी लेबर तो साइडों पे खाली बैठी रहेगी.
However, there were some violations. While some violators were penalized with a 2,000 rupee fine, others were lectured on the need for implementing this rule. Civil defense volunteers were seen standing at traffic intersections, educating people about pollution levels and giving them flowers. The ministers also did their bit. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, Health Minister Satyendra Jain and Transport Minister Gopal Rai carpooled to get to the Secretariat, while Environment Minister Imran Hussain used a battery-operated rickshaw for his commute and Tourism Minister Kapil Mishra was on his two-wheeler. The measure got a thumbs up even from the opposition.
दिल्ली के लोगों ने इसको अपना लिया है, ये मूवमेंट बन गया है और I am truly overwhelmed by the response that we have received so far. दिल्ली के लोग बहुत ज़बरदस्त लोग हैं. उन्होंने एक बहुत ही इम्पॉसिबल सा काम करके दिखाया है.
जिस तरीके से दिल्ली का प्रदूषण लगातार बढ़ता जा रहा है, उसमें यह संदेश देना बहुत जरूरी है कि प्रदूषण को रोकने के लिए जिस तरह से शम विषम योजना आई है, हालांकि योजना जल्दी में आई है, कितनी कारगर होगी मैं नहीं कह सकता, किंतु हम ये मैसेज जरूर देना चाहते हैं कि प्रदूषण, बढ़ते प्रदूषण के खिलाफ कुछ भी होता है तो हम सब लोग उसके अंदर साथ में हैं.
The Delhi police also appealed to the public for their cooperation.
मैं जनता से एक बार फिर अपील करूंगा कि आज क्या अगले 15 दिन तक जो है आप हमारी मदद करें.
Under the odd-even formula, private cars with an odd number plate can run on odd dates and those with even numbers on even dates. There are several exemptions to the rule, including emergency vehicles and single women drivers. There are no such restrictions on Sunday. Anu Devan's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, as Delhi's odd-even plan for cars took off today, several ministers were seen carpooling to set an example. Now, Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal carpooled with the two ministers, Transport Minister Gopal Rai and Health Minister Satyendra Jain. Now, Tourism Minister Kapil Mishra also took a motorbike to work, while Environment Minister Imran Hussain used an auto rickshaw. Now, RSTV's Anu Devan spoke to Gopal Rai, who also rode a DTC bus to inspect the scheme kick-off in the national capital.
दिल्ली के परिवहन मंत्री गोपाल राय जिस वक्त हमारे साथ हैं और वो इस समय डीटीसी बस में बैठ के दिल्ली की सड़कों पर जायजा ले रहे हैं कि आखिर ये ऑड इवन फॉर्मूला किस तरह से लागू किया गया है, लोग कैसे इसको एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हैं। सर, आपको जो फीडबैक मिल रहा है, आज शुरुआत हुई है इसकी, क्या फीडबैक आपको मिल रहा है?
देखो, दो चीज़ें तो साफ साफ दिख रही हैं। फीडबैक तो चारों तरफ से पूरे दिल्ली से हमारे पास पॉजिटिव आ रहे हैं। चौराहों पर जो है लोग, हमारे सिविल डिफेंस के वॉलंटियर फूल लेकर के इंतजार कर रहे हैं, लेकिन उनको कोई ऐसा नहीं मिल पा रहा है जिसको वो फूल दे करके गांधीगिरी कर सकें। यानी कि दिल्ली के लोग पूरी तरह से इस फार्मूले को स्वीकार करने की तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं। पूरे दिल्ली की सड़कों पर मैं भी करीब धीरे धीरे, मुझे भी पौन घंटे हो गए, मैं ढूंढ रहा हूं कि कोई तो ऐसी गाड़ी मिल जाए जो 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 के अलावा हो। मेरे नज़र में भी नहीं आ रही हैं, लेकिन खबर मिल रही है कुछ जगह ऐसी गाड़ियां हैं जिनको चालान काटा जा रहा है और सिविल डिफेंस के वॉलंटियर भी उनको अवेयर कर रहे हैं। तो इस तरह की जो फीडबैक है पुलिस के सहयोग से, और ख़ास तौर से दिल्ली वालों को मैं दिल से शुक्रिया करना चाहता हूं कि उन लोगों ने इस पूरे अभियान को, पोल्यूशन फ्री दिल्ली अभियान को आप अपने दिल में बिठाया है और हमें उम्मीद है 15 दिन में हम इसे कामयाब करेंगे।
सर, आज तो साल की शुरुआत है, पहला दिन है। दूसरी चीज़, आज कई दफ्तरों की छुट्टी भी है, लोग कई जगहों पे छुट्टी भी है, लेकिन असली जो परीक्षा है वो सोमवार को होगी। क्या आपको लगता है कि इसी तरह का माहौल जो है वो सोमवार को भी देखने को मिल सकता है?
दिल्ली वाले चाहेंगे तो ऐसा ही माहौल रहेगा, क्योंकि करना तो दिल्ली वालों को। कारें घरों में होती हैं और घरों से बाहर आती हैं। दिल्ली वालों के दिल में अगर ये बात बैठ गई है तो आज हो या कल लोग अपने बच्चों की खातिर इस अभियान को जरूर फॉलो करेंगे और हमें उम्मीद है कि इससे पोल्यूशन फ्री दिल्ली बनाने में हम सफल होंगे।
सर, क्या सिर्फ ऑड इवन ही एक तरीका है जिससे हम पॉल्यूशन फ्री कर सकते हैं, या इसके अलावा भी कुछ और करने की ज़रूरत है?
नहीं, इसके अलावा भी और भी बहुत सारे काम करने की ज़रूरत है और उस तरफ सरकार सोच रही है और स्टेप बाय स्टेप इन सारे चीज़ों को हम लोग पूरा करेंगे।
सर, इसके अलावा मैं आपसे ये जानना चाहूँगी कि क्या ऑड इवन 15 दिन के लिए लागू होगा या इसके आगे भी इसको एक्सटेंड किया जा सकता है?
ये 15 दिन के बाद इसका मूल्यांकन करेंगे और इस मूल्यांकन के बाद फिर आगे की घोषणा करेंगे।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमसे बात करने के लिए। तो जिस तरह से इन्होंने बताया कि दिल्ली वाले खुद ही इस ऑड इवन फॉर्मूला को अपनाकर दिल्ली को प्रदूषण मुक्त बनाने के लिए इस मुहिम में साथ जुड़ गए हैं। कैमरा पर्सन विजय के साथ अनु दीवान, राज्यसभा टीवी, दिल्ली।
Well, when the first violator of the odd even rule was challaned at the ITO junction in Delhi, he essentially brought to the fore the problems that Delhiites would face. This man, coming from his residence near Pari Chowk, which is the intersection between Noida and Greater Noida, said that he had no other option as there are limited modes of transport for him. Well, let's take a look at the realistic problems that Delhiites will face in the next 15 days.
The challenges to be overcome are many. The first problem for those who have to leave their cars at home is the lack of adequate public transport. At present, the Delhi Transport Corporation has a fleet strength of 4,705 for 45 lakh commuters. On an average, at least 600 breakdowns are reported on these buses every day, which means that in actual operational terms, not even 4,705 buses are on the roads every day. To cope with the extra pressure from January 1st to 15th on the public transport network, the Delhi government has hired around 3,000 private buses. Schools have been ordered to remain closed until the trial ends so that their buses can also be pressed into action. Coming to the city's lifeline, the Delhi Metro. The metro trains carried 25 lakh people on average in 2015, so it's a convenient way of travelling for many. But it still only covers 12% of the city within walking distance. DMRC has decided to make 70 additional trips during the odd-even trial period, taking the number of daily trips to 3,192. This increase will lead to a marginal increase in frequency that will help tackle the expected rush of passengers. The third big challenge will be connectivity for the people coming into Delhi from the National Capital Region. A majority of these regions are not well connected with public transport, and the only option available is a private vehicle. The implementation of the odd-even scheme will make Delhi inaccessible for several people. All said, however, the choice for Delhiites in the face of rising pollution is limited. The need for responsible citizenry is greater now than ever before. There is no guarantee if this measure will work or how far. But it's a small beginning towards a much bigger end. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the odd-even formula received a mixed response from the political fraternity. Even though all leaders supported the implementation of the rule, some of them accused the AAP government of trying to gain political mileage through the issue.
Without giving a proper thought and without doing a micro-detailing, they have implemented this odd and even formula. And I think it is too early to comment about this, that whether this is success. Although Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has already taken the credit, this that we have to curb the pollution. This is everybody's problem. But it would be better that if we had discussed this problem with all stakeholders.
The real test is when the holidays is over and the schools also open. But meanwhile, working on an experimentation, this is one of the strategies. We need to address it now more holistically, more comprehensively. What it needs now is the cooperation of every citizen.
हमें लगता है ये बहुत अच्छा और बहुत ही सुंदर इनिशिएटिव है और जिस तरह से प्रदूषण की समस्या है, पोल्यूशन की प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, उनको हल करने के लिए, उसके समाधान के लिए एक बहुत ही प्रभावशाली और एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण कदम है. हमें लग रहा है कि कहीं ना कहीं जो है वो इस पर भी जो है वो पॉलिटिकल स्कोर करने की कोशिश हो रही है.
One thing is there that at least everybody in the city has started talking of pollution, and the real success will be when people change themselves. We need to have more innovative ideas coming. This is only for 15 days.
ये वेट एंड वॉच की स्थिति है, ये किस प्रकार इम्प्लीमेंट होगा और किस प्रकार चलेगा, जनता का इसमें क्या सहभाग होगा, नहीं होगा, क्या इसकी खामियां होगी, ये एक इस प्रयोग के बाद ही कुछ दिनों के बाद पता चलेगा.
And in news at 6, we'll take a very short break here. But coming up ahead, suspended BJP MP Kirti Azad remains defiant. In his reply to the show cause notice from the party, Azad says that he has done nothing wrong. Details in a bit. Stay with us.
That clock ticked through the night. So much happened as you slept. So much you missed.
Wake up to a complete roundup of news from India and abroad. Politics, strategy, business, sports. Keen analysis to kickstart your day. Watch Breakfast News weekdays at 8 a.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. Now, former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram on Friday tore into the government's claims about the economy, saying that the economy was stagnant. Chidambaram said that while the government had predicted last year that the economy will grow at 8.1 to 8.5% in 2015-16, the actual growth may not be more than 7 to 7.3%. Now, 20 months into the government, he also asked the BJP-led government where the jobs and private investments promised by the party were. Now, these were the two major electoral plank for the BJP-led NDA before the 2014 Lok Sabha polls. The former finance minister also trained his guns on the government over the GST bill, saying that it has not been able to find a way to accommodate the views of the opposition. His comments come a day after Prime Minister Modi criticized the Congress for disrupting parliament proceedings.
The Indian economy is like a car running on two wheels. Corporate balance sheets are stressed. Net sales have fallen by 5.3%, and profit after tax is flat. Non-food credit growth at 8.3% is the slowest in 20 years. The economy is stuck in a groove. The government has not been able to find a way to accommodate the views of the opposition and pass the GST bill. I'm afraid the government is only to blame itself and its stubborn and unbending attitude.
And on to some other news. Well, suspended BJP MP Kirti Azad today replied to the notice sent by the BJP and dismissed the allegations levelled against him. In his reply, Azad has sent 4 CDs, including the CD of the press conference that he conducted on the DDCA scam, and given papers related to corruption in the DDCA. In a 3-page reply, he has dismissed all the allegations levelled against him. He also has written that it was wrong on the part of the party to act against him because of DDCA, as it is a different organisation and has nothing to do with the BJP. The BJP on Thursday issued a show-cause notice to the Darbhanga MP asking him to explain within 10 days why he should not be expelled from the party after he targeted Finance Minister Arun Jaitley and BCCI Secretary Anurag Thakur over alleged irregularities in the DDCA.
उसका जवाब देके गए हैं। अब उसको आगे देखते हैं, अनुशासन समिति उसको देखेगी और जैसा होगा आगे उसमें निर्णय होगा।
Kirti Azad has spoken against some institution or against some persons who are indulging in corrupt practices, and therefore he is only obeying to what was the fundamental issue in the manifesto of Bharatiya Janata Party.
Now to some more weather news. Well, the first day of the year saw a warm sunshine during the day despite a thick fog in the morning in northern states. There was some respite from the cold in Kashmir as the mercury went up by several degrees at most places after 4 days of severe cold. People in North India woke up to a cold and foggy New Year's Day. But a bright sun in the afternoon made the weather pleasant. In the national capital, the minimum temperature in the morning was 8.2 degrees Celsius, while the maximum temperature on Thursday was 24.5 degrees, 4 notches above the average. Chandigarh, the common capital of Punjab and Haryana, experienced a cold night at 5.8 degrees, 2 notches below normal level. The mercury dipped marginally in Uttar Pradesh as well, with fog throwing life out of gear in many parts. Poor visibility hampered traffic movement on the roads. Muzaffarnagar was coldest in the state at 4.1 degrees Celsius.
रोज नहीं, आज ही ज्यादा हुआ। दिखाई दे रहा है कि नहीं दिखाई? नहीं दिखाई तो नहीं दे रहा, हल्का दिखाई दे रहा है, थोड़ी दूर तक, ज्यादा दूर तक नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है, आज ज्यादा कोई रहा।
Mercury also went up a few notches in Jammu and Kashmir after days of severe cold. However, the weather department has predicted light snowfall from Monday. The minimum temperature increased by over 3 degrees in Srinagar as the mercury settled at minus 0.7 degrees Celsius. Kargil was coldest in the region at minus 15 degrees, while Leh recorded a minimum temperature of minus 13.3 degrees Celsius, 3 degrees more than the previous night. With no snow on New Year's Eve, many tourists were left disappointed in Gulmarg. Chilly conditions are expected from next week. The mercury is expected to dip with icy winds from the mountains, bringing the temperature down along with dense fog. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And time now to take a look at what else is making news across the country in nationwide. The Uttar Pradesh government today appointed Javed Ahmed as the new Director General of Police. Ahmed is a 1984 batch Indian Police Service officer who had earlier served as the Joint Director of the Central Bureau of Investigation during the Central Deputation. Ahmed will retire in 2020. At least 10 labourers were killed and 4 others injured in an overnight fire in Ramban district of Jammu and Kashmir. The deceased were sleeping in temporary structures which were erased to ashes. While the cause of the fire is still unknown, the injured labourers have been taken to hospitals. Veteran social activist Anna Hazare has written to Prime Minister Narendra Modi reminding him of not delivering his pre-electoral promises to bring back black money in 100 days. Hazare also pointed out that there was no visible difference between the UPA 2 and Modi-led regime with regards to corruption. Modi, before coming to power, had promised to check spiralling price rise and corruption and bring back black money. Well, it is a coincidence that year 2015 began and closed on the same day, that is a Thursday. Well, between these 2 Thursdays, Indian investors had a very eventful ride, especially in the stock markets. But of all the asset classes, be it mutual funds, fixed deposits, precious metals like gold or even real estate, the stock market remained the most volatile. Take a look. The barometer of the Indian stock market, the BSE Sensex, shot past 27,500 on the first day of the year. By the close of the year, however, it was down 5%. But back in January, it was being powered by a bull run, generated by a confidence about the clear majority and the intent of a relatively new government to revive the economy. January alone saw the BSE Sensex appreciating over 7%, hovering near the psychologically important mark of 30,000. By the second week of February, it corrected close to 5%, hitting 30,000 in March.
The kind of hope which Prime Minister Modi had given throughout his election campaign and so on and so forth was such that people had started thinking that as soon as he will come to power, and I mean more so when he came to power with BJP getting an absolute majority, was something very, very different. And now that those hopes are not getting realized.
2 weeks into April, the Sensex had gone below 29,000. But the biggest shock was yet to come. And it was not due to internal constraints. In July and August, Chinese stocks lost nearly 1/3 of their value. Two massive crashes on 24th of July and 27th August sent ripples across world markets. As Chinese authorities, struggling with weakening exports, allowed their currency to depreciate in August, fears were unleashed of a currency war. On 24th of August, world markets were shaken by the biggest crash since June 2007. Chinese stocks lost over 8% value in a single day. Trading had to be halted. The BSE Sensex suffered its biggest loss in 6 years, closing down by 1,625 points. From 19th of July to 26th of August, in just 6 trading sessions, the BSE Sensex lost over 8% of its value. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said, and I quote him now, "There is not a single domestic factor in India which has either contributed to it or added to it. These are external factors. I have not the least doubt that this turbulence is transient and temporary in nature. The markets will settle down." Unquote. On 7th of September, the Sensex reached its record low of the year to close at 24,893, having lost over 5%. Stocks started recovering in the festival of October, but declined through most of November and even in the first half of December. The silver lining, however, was that India withstood the impact of an interest hike by the US Fed that was projected to result in withdrawal of foreign investments.
We're really well cushioned on the macroeconomic side, so inflation is coming down. Our fiscal deficit situation is very good. External situation is also robust. So I think that for all these reasons, I think the impact on India should be relatively minimal. Yeah.
Volatile market, low commodity prices forced the government to defer investment of Coal India and other public sector undertakings. The finance minister set a target of getting 69,500 crore by diluting stocks of government companies like NALCO, NMDC, Oil India Limited, NTPC, BHEL, ONGC and Coal India. But it managed to get only 12,500 crore by selling its stake in Power Finance Corp, Rural Electrification Corp and Indian Oil, amounting to just 18% of the year's target. This is Krishna Tripathi report for Rajya Sabha TV. Well, another short break here. Up ahead, all the international news. With the start of the new year, the modified two-child policy comes into effect in China. We'll get you all the details. Stay with us.
Hello, I am Ishan Russell.
I'm Tracy Shilchi and you're watching News Tonight.
Together with the team of our
dedicated professionals from across various fields.
This is Shyam Sundar,
Vishal Dahiya,
Akhilesh Suman,
Frank Pereira from Beijing, China.
Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television. We bring to you
the news that matters here on Rajya Sabha TV.
News from the Middle East, where Iranian President Hassan Rouhani has denounced the United States for suggesting the possibility of new sanctions over its missile program. In response to the draft proposal of US sanctions, Rouhani has ordered his defense ministry to quickly and firmly continue with its plans to produce more missiles. He accused the US of illegal intervention in Tehran's right to boost its defensive power. Rouhani warned Washington against any unilateral, arbitrary or illegal action. However, the White House has not yet provided a timetable as to when the sanctions will be put into effect. Rouhani's actions come against a backdrop of increased friction between the US and Iran, with little hope of reconciliation in the near future as well. Rouhani, who had pushed for the recent nuclear accord between Iran and the West, went on to say that the new sanctions would be regarded as a violation of that nuclear accord. Some more international news now in Global Buzz. A fire engulfed a high-rise hotel close to the Burj Khalifa in Dubai on Thursday night. The Address Hotel, a 63-story building, caught fire suddenly about 3 hours before the New Year celebrations. Firefighters and police arrived at the site immediately and people were evacuated. According to Dubai Civil Defense, 14 people were injured in the fire. German police evacuated 2 train stations in Munich late on 31st of December. They state on Twitter that they had received a tip regarding a planned militant attack in the city. In other parts of the world too, New Year celebrations took a turn for the worse. In Philippines, stray bullets and exploding firecrackers killed 2 people and injured hundreds amid the country's traditional New Year celebrations. Chinese authorities have formally arrested 11 people for their role in a deadly landslide last month in Shenzhen. They have been charged with negligently causing a serious accident. The government has blamed breaches of construction safety rules for the landslide. When a dump overflowed and engulfed 33 buildings, at least 12 people have been confirmed dead, while 62 are still missing. Married couples in China will be allowed to have 2 children starting 1st of January 2016. The change, which was announced in October by the ruling Communist Party, has come into effect. China's population is now aging rapidly and has served gender imbalances, all while the country's workforce is shrinking. Under the new law, married couples are now allowed to have a second child. However, the legislation maintains limits on additional births. Let's get you all the sporting action now in Sports Beat. Pakistani fast bowler Mohammad Amir returned to the national team as selectors picked him up for the T20 and ODI squads for the New Zealand tour. Amir was banned for 5 years for spot fixing during the 2010 test at Lord's. ODI team captain Azhar Ali had earlier protested Amir's inclusion in the team. David Ferrer and Milos Raonic booked places in the semi-finals of the 6-man Mubadala World Tennis Championship. Ferrer beat Joe Wilfried Tsonga 6-1, 6-1, while Raonic beat South Africa's Kevin Anderson 6-3, 6-4. The exhibition tournament starts with the quarterfinals between the 4 lowest-ranked men, with top seeds Rafa Nadal and Stan Wawrinka joining at the semi-final stage. Yet another disappointment for Valencia boss Gary Neville as his side lost 1-0 to Villarreal. After a quiet first half, Bruno Sorino rifled a brilliant free kick straight into the top left corner to win the game for the hosts. Valencia is still awaiting its first win of the La Liga. Hosts Villarreal now move into the Champions League places, while Valencia remains in the 10th spot. That's all in this edition of news, but news and updates continue on your channel. Keep watching Rajya Sabha TV.